For 4 decades, Bill Zabel and Tom Bernstein have led the Human Rights First Board with wisdom, compassion, and an abiding commitment to human rights. Mona and I are humbled to follow in their footsteps, and we're honored to introduce them tonight. Many of you are here tonight because of your connection to and an unwavering admiration for the one and only Bill Zabel. His tenure at the helm of Human Rights First is only one part of a lifetime of fighting for justice. It began when Bill was an undergrad at Princeton, where his civil rights activism prompted a visit from armed men in Klan robes. The men, it turned out, were students who were apprehended when they left their robes for the laundry service. Not quite that smart. Later, doing civil rights work in Mississippi, Bill was shot at by the Klan, and those who know Bill well can anticipate his reaction when asked about this incident. Naturally, he quotes Churchill, who said, "Nothing in life is so exhilarating as to be shot at without result." Bill believes the law can be a vital instrument of social progress. Indeed, he's demonstrated just that. As a volunteer attorney, he wrote the ACLU brief for Loving versus Virginia, the case that led the Supreme Court to strike down all bans on interracial marriage. It is without any hyperbole that I can refer to Bill as living history. You can't fake his perspective, nor his credibility. It's earned. Throughout my career, Bill has been and continues to be an inspiration, and I only hope that someday, somehow, I can live up to his example.
So thanks, Mike. Like Bill, Tom has an incredibly diverse, wildly diverse and fascinating bio that if we have the time tonight, I could go through for hours, but we don't have that much time. So I'm going to do the shorthand version. Law clerk, entertainment lawyer, financier of Disney films, part owner of the Texas Rangers, and board chair of the U.S. Holocaust Museum. And of course, not least of which is president and founder of this place, Chelsea Piers, not just one, but now 3 Chelsea Piers. But here's an important part of his bio that you might not know as well, which is that in the early 1980s, when Tom was a young lawyer at Paul Weiss, he took on a pro bono asylum case via Human Rights First. That case involved Sonny Alvarez, who was a fierce opponent of the Marcos dictatorship in the Philippines. And Sonny had managed to somehow evade an assassination order by escaping in a ship. He ended up in the United States, and even with that experience, his initial request for asylum was denied. And Tom stepped in to represent him on appeal. They obviously won the case, happy ending, and the decision in favor of the Alvarez family, and helped Sonny and his family gain asylum and get settled in the United States. And so began Tom's illustrious and many-year relationship with this organization. I think anybody who has touched this organization knows how much it's benefited from Tom's endless support and talent in steering this organization. His business and legal expertise, but even more importantly, his unwavering support for human rights and belief in human dignity. So I think both Tom and Bill have provided a model of leadership for this kind of organization: principled, engaged, enlightened, determined, that Mike and I are going to do our best to emulate, right, Mike? I think. We aim to do them proud. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome Tom Bernstein and Bill Zabel.
Thank you, Mona and Mike, for your very kind words. Our work has never been more urgent, and we're so fortunate that you will take over as co-chairs. Just to be clear, Bill and I aren't going anywhere. We're still on the board, and we're in for the long haul. But yes, we're passing the torch to a new generation, and we couldn't be more thrilled about the leadership team now in place. When we met Mike Breen a year ago, he seemed too good to be true. A Yale Law grad, an Army vet who had founded a refugee assistance organization. He was perfect on paper. Now we know he's even better in person. And by his side has been Zach Silverstein, who has made sure we have not missed a beat during the transition. Mike's building on the powerful platform left by his predecessors, Mike Posner and Elisa Massimino, who built and steered the ship for the last 40 years. They're both here tonight and deserve a big round of applause. By the way, the nationwide search that brought us Mike Breen was led by none other than Mike Rosen and Mona Suffman. Further proof that no good deed goes unpunished. Bill will have a few words to say about them in a moment, but first I'd like to acknowledge two beloved board members we lost this year, Gail Furman and Darrell Lebo. Gail and Darrell were birds of a feather, two extraordinarily talented professionals, Darrell a lawyer and Gail a clinical psychologist, both dedicated to helping those in need and repairing a troubled world. We miss them greatly and carry their spirit with us. I know that both would be excited about our new leadership and the future of Human Rights First. Speaking of which, last year, Human Rights First established the William D. Zabel Legacy Fund. I'm thrilled to report that the campaign has now reached $15 million. That's a testament to the incredible energy, passion, and leadership of my great friend and colleague, Bill Zabel. Bill.
Thank you, Tom. I need a personal moment. Ironically, we're in the 40th year now of Human Rights First. And on Friday night, Halloween, my wife and I will celebrate our 40th wedding anniversary. And I bring that into this because I could not have done what I've done over the years without her loyalty, her love, her support. So I'd like you to give her a hand. Stand, Deborah. You can see who was the treat. Good evening now, ladies and gentlemen, including those among us who the president in his despicable way calls vermin. In my personal opinion, it is not an exaggeration to recognize our elected dictator could lead our country to the destruction of its constitutional democracy, including the Bill of Rights, separation of power. The times are certainly bad, and I could go on, but we have other important things tonight. And as Churchill said, when the going gets bad, keep going. Human Rights First intends to keep going with full speed. In addition to Mike Breen's outstanding leadership, much of our momentum will come from the two new extraordinary leaders to replace Tom and me. By the way, several people inquired about my health, but I'm happy to tell them that the rumors of my death are highly exaggerated. I feel rather healthy and anxious to help our new leaders. Tom and I will stay on the board to do that. So our two new leaders are Mike Rosen and Mona Suffman. Mike is a founding partner of Rosen Law Firm and president and CEO of TRGP Capital Management, an alternative investment company. Being a board chair is about forging consensus, and no one's better than Mike. He's a national leader in resolving complex multi-party disputes. Among numerous posts, he was Deputy Special Master of the September 11th Victims Fund. Disputes on our board should seem simple by comparison. Mona is a policy expert who served as President Obama's Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and spent 9 years in the Foreign Service, including 2 on the staff of the National Security Council. She also worked in the State Department's Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor, as well as the U.S. Embassy in Bangkok. Her policy expertise and knowledge of government policy is invaluable to the board. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the new outstanding vice chairs, Linda Clarizio and Tony Blinken. The board could not be in better hands, so please give another hand for our new leaders and our vice chairs. Thank you.